Let me ask you something right now. Have you ever watched a Hugelkultur video, gotten really excited about it, and then realized there's absolutely no way you can do it because there's no way on earth you're moving those massive logs? Yeah, you're not alone. And today we're gonna fix that because you can absolutely build a Hugelkultur bed and you don't need a single log to do it. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you're going to have a method you can actually use. One that's easy on your back, easy on your wallet, and honestly, might even be easier to maintain than the traditional way. Before we get into the good stuff, let's make sure everybody's on the same page. Because if you've never heard of Hugelkultur before, that's okay. The word is German, and it basically means mound culture or hill culture. The idea is simple and brilliant. You build a raised bed, but instead of filling it with expensive purchased soil, you bury organic material underneath, traditionally logs or woody debris, and then cover it all with compost and topsoil. As that buried organic material breaks down over time, it acts like a sponge. It holds water deep in the bed, which means your plants can access moisture during dry spells without you constantly running a hose out there. On top of that, all that decomposition creates heat and nutrients that feed your plants from below. The soil life, the worms, the fungi, the bacteria, absolutely thrives in that kind of environment. The end result is a raised garden bed that waters itself more than a conventional bed does, feeds itself, and gets better every single year as more material breaks down underneath. It's a fantastic system. It really is. The problem? Those logs. The log problem nobody talks about. Every single Hugelkultur video and article you'll ever find tells you the same thing. Use logs. Big logs. The bigger the better because bigger logs hold more water and take longer to break down. And on paper, that makes sense. In practice, for a huge number of people, it's completely impractical. Think about what it actually takes to move a big log. We're not talking about a stick you find in the yard. We're talking about serious timber. Pieces that can weigh 50, 80, sometimes well over 100 pounds each. A mature hardwood log, even a short section of one, is a back-breaking, muscle-wrenching, hernia-inducing nightmare to deal with. And here's who's really getting left out of the Hugelkultur conversation. Anyone with a bad back. Anyone who's dealt with a herniated disc. Anyone who's ever thrown their back out and knows exactly what it feels like to be flat on the floor for 3 days because they moved something they shouldn't have. Anyone who's had shoulder surgery or hip problems, or who just knows their body well enough to understand that one wrong move with a 100-pound log could put them out of commission for weeks. That's not a small group of people. That's a lot of gardeners. And then there's another group, people who simply don't have access to free logs. If you live in a suburban or urban area, where exactly are you getting big logs? You can't just go wander into a forest and start cutting. You'd have to buy them. And at that point, you might as well just buy a truckload of good garden soil and skip the whole thing. So what do you do if you want the benefits of Hugelkultur, but you physically can't deal with logs, or you just don't have them? You use cardboard. Why cardboard works. Here's what you need to understand. What Hugelkultur is really doing is burying carbon-rich organic material that will slowly decompose and feed your garden ecosystem. Logs are just one way to do that. They're the traditional way. They're the original way. But they are not the only way. Cardboard is organic material. Cardboard is carbon-rich. Cardboard decomposes. Cardboard feeds soil life as it breaks down. It holds moisture as it softens and breaks apart. It suppresses weeds beautifully while it's still intact. And here's the thing that makes cardboard an absolute game changer for this. You can carry as much or as little as your body can handle at any given moment. Got a bad back? Carry one sheet of cardboard at a time. One sheet. Nobody is getting a hernia carrying a flattened Amazon box from their living room to their backyard. Nobody is sewing their back out, folding up a cardboard box and walking it outside. Nobody is wrenching a muscle or straining something they shouldn't strain just because they're moving a piece of cardboard. Compare that to moving logs, where one wrong twist, one slip, one moment of overconfidence, and you're done. You're on the couch, icing your lower back and calling in sick to your real-life job. That's the reality of moving objects that can weigh more than 100 pounds, and no gardening project is worth that. With cardboard, you work at your own pace. You carry what you can. You stop when you want. You start again tomorrow. There's no rush, no struggle, no moment where you're grunting under the weight of something your body wasn't built to handle. Where to get cardboard? Here's another thing that makes cardboard such a perfect alternative. You almost certainly already have a steady supply of it. Think about how many boxes come through your home. Online shopping has made cardboard one of the most abundant waste materials in the modern household. Amazon boxes, shipping boxes from any online retailer, appliance boxes, moving boxes, it adds up incredibly fast. And if you need more than you can generate yourself, just ask. Ask neighbors. Ask local stores. Grocery stores, liquor stores, appliance stores, furniture stores. These places receive deliveries in cardboard constantly, and they are thrilled to have someone take it off their hands rather than dealing with the recycling themselves. Getting free cardboard is genuinely one of the easiest things you can do. Getting free logs that are big enough for Hugelkultur? That's a whole project in itself. Preparing your cardboard the right way. Now, before you just start tossing boxes into your garden, there are a couple of things you want to do first, and they're both super simple. The big one is tape. You need to remove the plastic tape from your boxes before you use them. Any tape that's clearly plastic-based needs to come off, because unlike the cardboard itself, plastic doesn't break down in your garden. It'll just sit there, fragmenting into microplastics over time, which is exactly what you don't want in your growing space. Just pull the tape off, toss it in the trash, and your cardboard is ready to go. Now here's something that trips a lot of people up: the ink. You might be looking at your printed shipping boxes and wondering whether that ink is going to leach something bad into your soil. Totally fair concern. But the good news is that modern printing inks, the kind used on cardboard boxes, are soy-based, not petroleum-based, not solvent-based, soy-based. They're considered safe for the garden, so you don't need to worry about the logos, the barcodes, or the labels on your boxes. The cardboard is safe to use as is once the tape is removed. That's really it for prep. Remove the tape, keep the cardboard, head outside. Building your cardboard Hugelkultur bed. So let's walk through how this actually comes together. Outline your bed, whatever shape and size works for your space. You can mount it up just like a traditional Hugelkultur bed if you want that classic raised mound look, or you can keep it lower and flatter if that suits your space better. The core concept works either way. Then you start filling. Layer your cardboard into the bed. Stack it, overlap the edges so weeds can't sneak through the gaps, and build it up. You can fold boxes, stack flat sheets, crumple pieces to fill awkward spaces. There's no wrong technique here. Just get that cardboard in there. The beauty of doing this one sheet, one box, one armful at a time is that you are completely in control of your own physical limits at every moment. If your back is hurting today, you carry one box outside and you're done for the day. No pressure, no strain, no moment where you're making a terrible decision because the log is already halfway off the ground and there's no good place to put it back down. You know exactly what that moment feels like. When you're already committed to the lift and you can feel something starting to protest in your lower back and you're just hoping you make it to the end. With cardboard, that moment never happens. Once your cardboard is layered in, top it with a good layer of compost and then your topsoil or garden soil. Now you've got a bed that's ready to plant. What about the breakdown rate? Here's the one place where cardboard hugelkultur differs from the log version, and it's worth being upfront about it. Cardboard breaks down a lot faster than logs do. A hardwood log buried in a hugelkultur bed can take years, sometimes a decade or more, to fully decompose. The cardboard version, you're looking at a much quicker breakdown timeline. Within a season or two, a significant portion of your cardboard is going to be well on its way to becoming part of the soil. Some people hear this and think that's a downside, but here's why it really isn't. Because cardboard is so easy to get and so easy to work with, topping up your bed is genuinely no big deal. You just add more. Whenever you notice your mound starting to settle and sink as the material below breaks down, you lift a corner of soil, tuck in more cardboard, and cover it back up. Compare that to the alternative, where refreshing a log-based bed means you're back to wrestling with 100-pound pieces of timber, risking your back all over again, trying to figure out how to get new logs into a space that already has a structure built around it. With cardboard, easy replenishment is baked right into the system. It works beautifully for real people with real physical limitations. So here's where we land. Hugelkultur is a genuinely brilliant approach to building a thriving, self-sustaining garden bed. The principles behind it, buried organic material, moisture retention, feeding soil life from below, are sound and proven. You absolutely should be taking advantage of this method if you're building or improving garden beds. But you do not need logs to do it. You do not need to risk your back, wrench a muscle, or end up with a hernia trying to wrestle a 100-pound piece of timber into position just to get those benefits. You don't need to spend money buying logs when what you actually need is sitting in your recycling bin or being delivered to your door every time you order something online. Cardboard works. It builds that base of organic material your garden ecosystem needs. It breaks down and feeds your soil. It suppresses weeds while it's intact. It's free, it's everywhere, and you can carry exactly as much of it as your body is comfortable with. One sheet at a time if that's what you need. Remove the tape, don't stress about the soy-based ink, stack it in layers, cover it with good soil, and you've got a hugelkultur bed that works. One that you built without hurting yourself, without spending a fortune, and without needing a team of strong-backed helpers to pull it off. Your garden doesn't care what method you used to build it. It just cares that you showed up and gave it what it needs. And cardboard? Cardboard will absolutely do the job. That's all for now. Subscribe to see more.